And happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast at Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And of course, we have a very special guest here today, Jason Voorhees, looking to cut it up with the games community, as well as the best bald head in the business, Fuzzy Belvedere. Crispy Bomb, good morning, kind sir. How are you feeling on this spooktacular October 31st?
Well, happy Halloween, everyone. And yeah, definitely looking forward to jumping in some Outer Worlds 2 today. Got it downloading as we speak. So
Very nice.
Can't wait to get into it. Got a whole day off to mess around in the playground that Obsidian built. So looking forward to that. But great to be here. We got a lot of things to talk about.
Indeed. You know, it's funny. Last night, as old men shouldn't do, I was up to 3:18 in the morning rolling my second character, and I started it over again. I saw so many people playing, and I'm like, well, I've already beaten it. It took me 75 hours, a little over 75 hours, and I put 4 hours in last night and on a rerun character. And this time I'm doing Renegade, and I'm kind of an asshole, which I'm actually very bothered by playing because I don't like. I mean, like I was like Mr. Law Enforcement, good guy. I'll help you, ma'am. And now I'm kind of like, yeah, well, let that guy go. He F him, whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, I don't know if I can play like this. It's actually bothering me to be an asshole. So I'm gonna continue to be Renegade, and those choices are hilarious. But wow, once again, big thank you to Obsidian and for Xbox for the trust in Double Barrel Gaming and allowing us to review it. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I've seen even some higher scores. It's just amazing. Again, the best compliment I can give the developers at Obsidian is that they took everything that was great about the original Outer Worlds, and they somehow brought forward everything that was amazing about Fallout New Vegas, and they merged it. That's what this ultimately is. That is the best compliment. And one of the highlights, folks, is the gunplay. Do not be afraid to continue to change your weapons and upgrade them. Spend the time on that workbench, because some of the stuff that you could make is bloody incredible. And you know what's a shame? I found a gun much later on. It did 3 damage. So I was like, this is stupid. Let me just sell it. And I realized, like a moron, I just sold a shrink ray, where when you shot them, they became boot-sized things, and you just walked over them and killed them. I was like, you moron. So when I find it the next time, hopefully I do, I'm going to be shrinking the shit out of people and just crushing them with my boots. Oh, Chris Baum, great to have you here, brother. Jason Voorhees, a.k.a. Silent Cypher. How you feeling, brother?
No, good morning, guys. Great to be with you. Yeah, I also dipped my toes into Outer Worlds. Just got like a little bit past the prologue, so I'm not going to say much, obviously. No spoilers. But for anyone who hasn't started the game, definitely recommend jumping into it. It's pretty good so far.
Yeah.
Between that, Supermarket Simulator, and freaking Ball Pit, my God, I feel like my week has just disappeared. No one should have as much fun with a supermarket simulator as we've been having. I guess it's old people stuff, but that's what
Probably.
we're into now. I don't know. But no, it's great seeing you guys. Great to see everyone in the chat, and looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, well, today's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to open up with a real fun topic. It's an original one that I just dropped onto the panel. So, of course, it's going to be raw and uncut thoughts and theories. We're going to get into some rumored news about Halo 2 and 3 being remade in Unreal Engine 5 the same way that Halo Campaign Evolved will be coming out next year to celebrate the 20th anniversary. That comes the way of Halo leaks on Twitter. And the big topic is an original one, folks. It's one that I've been doing some thinking. I've been doing some research on it. I've been sitting on this idea of what could be for 2026. And we're going to get into that towards the back end of the show. But hey, Fuzzy Belvedere, your day has arrived, just like Silent Cypher. Halloween for you and the missus. How you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Oh, I'm feeling great. Glad to be here with you guys. Yeah, it's been fun as far as just all the games that Xbox has been unloading on the platform. Just dived into Outer Worlds 2, having some fun with it. Kind of going in between being the good guy and screw that guy, let him like die kind of thing. But I got my crew is behind me, so yeah, having fun with it right now. Ball pit, like Silent Cypher said, another addiction, kind of like Vampire Survivors was, which I think they even have like a Balatro crossover.
Yes, it's not out yet. It's coming out. It was a part of the ID at Xbox. They're doing. It's an expansion within an expansion. It's Balatro, and it's something within Balatro that is an expansion. I mean, all you can say is, I went back to playing it. In fact, that's one of the games that's been taking up my time. And you know what? There's nothing like the original. As much as I'm loving all of these roguelites, right? Nothing beats Vampire Survivors. It's just bullet hell, and it's just amazing.
And then there's another game kind of in the theme of Halloween coming out next week, where you're pretty much driving around in the zombie apocalypse with a car, and you get out and get supplies and things. I'm trying to see if I can remember the name.
Pacific Drive, I think it is.
No, that's another good one.
Okay.
But there's another one coming, Dead Static Drive. So be on the lookout for that next week.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a great season for scary movies and scary games, and yeah, we got some good topics to talk about with Xbox and what the future holds. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be a fun 90 plus minutes, folks. So get ready. Again, happy Halloween to everybody. I do want, of course, start. I usually end the show with this, but I'll start off with it because I think it's important enough to hear it twice. Look, during the holidays, I know this is when I know I'm going to bore you folks, but please, bear with me with this. As a cop of 21 years for the NYPD, most of the worst wrecks I've ever seen in my entire life have been during the holidays. And you think that's because people would know better, and they don't. And Halloween is one of those where I've only worked it once, and I'm sorry that it was only once. The Halloween parade in Manhattan and in the Village. It's incredible. It's just an incredible experience and environment. Folks, if you're going to go out tonight, drink responsibly, please. Don't be that person on the 7 o'clock news tomorrow that you've killed a family of 6 coming home from trick-or-treating. Keep that in mind. And I know it's boring and it's not video game related, but being a former cop who's seen these wrecks firsthand, having to respond to them, you don't want to be that person. So I'll say that on the back end of the show, but I had to say it up front because it is important. A lot of people want to enjoy themselves. That's great. But this is where cab services come into play. And friends of other friends, don't let them drive. Please, do me a favor. So, you're here to talk about video games. And we're going to open up with a fun one. And I need the chat's help with this one. We're going to get into our favorite horror game of all time. So, being the host, I'm going to go first. And the guys already know, except for Fuzzy because he wasn't in the green room. Listen, there's been so many great ones over the years. You can go back to the TurboGrafx 16 Splatterhouse, where a guy in a Jason mask, like Silent Cypher, was chopping demons, right? You can go back to some of the Evil Dead games. You can go back to so many others. The one that jumps off the page for me that I think absolutely needs a remake in the worst way possible is Condemned Criminal Origins on the Xbox 360. It was a first-person horror, puzzler, crime, like crime scene drama. And there is a particular part, and I know some people are like, "Oh, the bear." If you don't know what the bear I'm talking about, then you never played the game. No, not the bear. There's a particular part where you are tasked with going through an abandoned store, and it has escalators and it has mannequins. And I am not going to sit here and tell. I just literally said this to Silent Cypher. I don't recall a game that I literally saw something move and was like, nope. And I put down the control and I was like, fuck that. Pardon my French, ladies and gentlemen. That was one of my favorite scary games. Chris Brown, let's go to you, brother. What was one of your favorite scary games?
Well, the two you already know, Dying Light. I mean, especially being underpowered in the beginning of that game and going out at night and with the parkour and everything else, it's heart pumping, it's butt cheek clinching, like you're running, man. And I think, as far as like being scared, those volatiles, man, they, you hear them, you see how fast they move, you are just going. Probably the worst part of that was when I got stuck on the bridge and it got to night, and all of a sudden like 3 or 4 of them show up, and I'm literally sitting, for hours in game at least, waiting for them to go away because I'm just sitting in the corner and like on the side of the bridge, like about to fall off, just hoping they don't see me because I got a bunch of good loot. If you know, and I mean, literally, I'm just sitting there like, come on, man, like just go away. And it felt like forever. And, that game to this day, like still like that's one of those moments I was like, man, this game is incredible. But also you don't really want to go out at night unless you're like, getting towards the end game, and then you can start messing with them good. But yeah, it's definitely a fun time on that one.
That's a really good pick. So, I mean, you know what? I have to agree with you. I don't specifically remember the bridge part, but I remember this is crazy. I remember that particular game, and it turned night, and when it gets pitch black, I mean, like it's literally pitch black. I didn't know how to turn on my effing flashlight. I'm like, how do you turn on the flashlight? What do you do? So I'm looking for lighted areas, and I kept running into buildings, and these things are chasing you. And again, with Dying Light, you normally you can climb up on the top of a car or a truck or something, or a terrace, and you're good. No, these things climb and run at you in packs. So that is a really good pick, man. I remember doing that and being freaking terrified, especially at night. And every time after my first experience at night, I'm like, you know what? It's not that serious. I'm going to sleep to the day and work it out that way. And I didn't mean that to rhyme, but that's a really, really good pick. Silent Cypher, Mr. Halloween. What's one of your favorite?
Well, I'm right up there with you on Condemned, but since I want to throw something else out there, I'll go ahead and I'll put out Dead Space, because Dead Space was one of those games where just from start to rip, like on that thing the whole way through, you experienced unreasonable things on a spaceship, away from any help, and they did a really good job at making you feel very isolated, very weak for the first portion of it. Of course, if you did like a new game plus, you were stomping through everything, which was pretty awesome. It was great to go back through there and just tear through everyone. But just the atmospheric vibe that game had from start to finish was
good
really
pick, man.
good.
Good pick.
And the remake that they ended up doing of it as well ended up being really good too. Bums me out that EA is the way they are, and we're not going to see a Dead Space 2 remake, because that has one of probably the one of those scenes that made me cringe more than anything else in a game, with the needle. If you know, you know. I'm not going to say anything past that.
Yeah,
if you've never played the game, play the game. The needle is no joke. But yeah, no, that's the one I think I'd have to pick besides Condemned myself.
That's a really strong pick. You know what? I didn't even think about that. And the remake was phenomenally well done. I mean, so well done. Fuzzy Belvedere, you're another Mr. Horror. What is your favorite horror game of all time?
Well, Dying Light was definitely up there, and I love Dead Space, the remake. I'm going to go with one that's along the similar lines with Prey. Like that one, I think the twist of when you realize that you're on the spaceship kind of thing, but without even spoiling it, I just like the fact that every room that you could walk in, there could be a mimic. Oh, that's a coffee cup. You turn around, something makes this like weird noise, and you turn around and it's like slicing at you and stuff. So it's like just the atmosphere on that space station when you actually find other survivors was pretty cool. But just dealing with the mimics, like there's no reason that there should be two speakers there. And then you turn around and it's like, oh no, you forgot that there were two chairs over there, and one of the chairs happened to be a mimic. And it's like now pretty much trying to absorb you or electrocute you or something. So yeah, that game, I love that one because it was like, I guess one of the more underrated games from what's the Arcane. Like,
Yeah.
Arcane games are good, but like that one for me just sold it because of the sci-fi horror aspect to it, with a little bit of a twist at the end. But I'm not going to spoil that. But definitely worth a playthrough.
Yeah, I mean, it's again all great picks from everybody. Chat, let's see. I know that Jay Mack in the chat has been saying about Fear. Fear is another one. Oh my god, I would take a remake of that in a second. Good. That's another phenomenal game. Those 360 era games. I mean, I was on PS3 also, but I played mostly on the 360. Were just absolutely phenomenal. Look. Let me see if I'm gonna go to the chat and see if anybody says anything here. Oh, Rick L. Parasite Eve was really good. That was a PlayStation 1, the PS1, I think. That was really good. Square Enix way back in the days. I actually imported that. That was phenomenal. B. Luno in the chat. Manhunt was another one. That was actually one of those like overly rated games. Like if you still have like the original, and actually I think I do. What was Manhunt, the PlayStation 2?
Yeah, it was PS2.
PS2. Wow, man, I actually think I still have that. Believe it or not. Let's see if anybody else in here. Let's see. Will the Broke Boy Insider says I'm back playing Fear on Steam. Needs a remake. Dude, 100%. Absolutely needs a remake. Let's see. Prey. A lot of people really enjoyed Prey. You know what's crazy? I played about 6 hours and I was like, yeah, it's just it didn't grab me. You know what's funny? It's like Paris Lily did a tweet the other day, and I said his name once. So if I say 2 more times, it's probably going to show up in the chat about The Witcher 3, and he was playing it on the ROG Xbox Ally and the X. I tried to play that game 3 times, and it just never clicked with me. I love open world games. It's something about The Witcher. I don't know what it was. Back then, it was the potion making and the solvent for the stupid sword. I was like, yeah, this is too much. It's just I want to hack and slash my way to the top, and I can't do that. Now I know you can now, but I've already tried 3 times, and I'm like, yeah, it's just not for me. Every time I stopped, I got into the part where the person was in someone's house. I think she was a witch or something, and you had to get her out the house or something like that. And I was like, yeah, this is where this that. And I always fight like the first boss, which is that flying creature. I'm like, yeah, this is just not for me. Prey was like that. There's been a couple of games. This is gonna sound controversial. I know it's not a horror game, but Cyberpunk. I played the first 8 hours and I was like, it's just a lot. No, it's just not. I don't know. Maybe Project. Maybe their games are just not for me. I don't know, but it's fine. Big Money King says Doom. Doom's a really good one as well. I actually like that. I mean, it's Resident Evil 7. Sir Riffs a lot. That was actually, it's funny. I'm the biggest RE fan. You got to see again. I got to get my own man cave. I got to show you some of my collectibles. I got stuff that is so rare that it's not even, you can't even find it on eBay. Remember the Outbreak, which was that the MMO for I have the Biohazard, which is what it's called in Japan, versions of Outbreak 1 and 2. Well, for one of my birthdays, Mrs. Boom got me these PlayStation 2 Special Edition memory cards. One's an Umbrella Petri dish. That one you can find. There's another one for that came out for the the Biohazard Outbreak 2 that comes with an actual bullet. And it's I can only find pictures of it. I can't actually find where to buy it. Like, I want to know how much it's worth, and I have that as well. For our first anniversary, Mrs. Boom got me it was import only, the 5th anniversary briefcase for Biohazard, which again is Resident Evil. Came in this long blue box with the zombie silhouette on it, and had all the games from the original to Code Veronica. Yeah, so I have that as well. I have my Resident Evil collection is ridiculously cool. I even have the Resident Evil 4, because it was an exclusive at the time, GameCube controller. It's a chainsaw.
Chainsaw.
Yes, I have that. And you know something? It's brand new. It's never been opened. Brand new in the box. I think it's got to be 20-something years old. I also have a Biohazard GameCube collectible box set that came with from 0 to Code Veronica, and it's got RPD with like a smear of blood, and when you turn it to the side, there's a keyhole with the eye from the game. It's incredibly rare. So that's my favorite. If my favorite horror series would have to be Resident Evil, and 7's that's a really good pick. But listen, let's get into. I know that Silent Cypher is not going to have a lot to say on this because he's not a Halo guy. So this isn't the big topic of the show, but I got to talk about it. So I want to give credence to Halo leaks on X. Now, this story I pulled from the GamePost.com, and it goes on to say this, ladies and gentlemen: new leak claims that Halo 2 and Halo 3 campaign remakes are in development with sprint mechanics. That's right. He's a Spartan. He's 7 feet tall. He's as strong as the Incredible Hulk. Yes, he can run. But it's not going to have multiplayer. And you know something, folks? I am okay with that. I do not need Halo 2's multiplayer remade. I do not need Halo 3's multiplayer remade. What I would like are the campaigns remade in what we saw with Halo Campaign Evolved on last Friday. That is all I need. Give me the single-player campaign with split screen or 4-player co-op split screen. Well, not split screen, but 4-player co-op via online, and we're good. According to the leak, why we're not getting new multiplayer is because they're working on a free-to-play multiplayer, which is going to be a thing that's going to be launched everywhere. We've talked about that before. But also, according to this story, Halo 7 is going to be the new multiplayer for that game. And I don't know how they're going to do that, because remember, I don't know if they want to split the fan base, but I don't know when Halo 7 is coming. I don't think it's next year, that's for sure. But multiplayer, at least a new multiplayer, will be shown next year for the 25th anniversary. And obviously, we know that the Halo Championships have said publicly that they have stopped using Halo Infinite for their multiplayer. Why? Because, well, I think it's safe to say that the multiplayer aspect of whatever is going to be for Halo Championships next year is going to be this new free-to-play Halo on a new engine that I don't believe is going to be Unreal Engine 5. But Fuzzy, I'm going to go to you first. I know you're a Gears guy. And obviously, when you talk about Xbox, there are the three bigs. They're the pillars. They're the trinity, as it were, in Halo, Gears, and Forza, right? We're getting all of those games next year with new campaigns, new coats of paint, and in a region we've never been to in Japan. It's going to be a party for Xbox fans from January 1st to December 31st. And I'm hearing that they are really going to be throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at this 25th anniversary celebration for the 10-time dead platform in Xbox, right? And obviously today's Halloween, so I can see them coming back for the 11th time, because that's just what they do, right? But Fuzzy, Fuzzy, Silent, and Crispy. Crispy, I'm going to do you first on this. Halo is Xbox. Xbox is Halo. Now, I will be the first one to admit that they have dropped the ball with Halo and making it it's a shame to where Halo has fallen to. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Infinite. I have over 23 days in that. I love every second I've played of it. I haven't been back in a while. But look, the truth of the matter is that we already have confirmation that Halo Campaign Evolved is next year. And it's safe to say that they're going to release it around the 15th of November, which is the official 25th anniversary of that, as well as the actual console on the platform. But to hear now that Halo 2 and Halo 3 on a Tuesday is still my favorite Halo of all time. Story, graphics, everything. It's just was my favorite Halo, and maybe I'm being a little biased, but it did come out on my birthday, September 25th of 2000. I think it was 2007 is when Halo 3 came out. I'm okay that being my favorite. And on a Friday, I'll say Infinite, because Infinite's single-player campaign was incredible. But to hear that we're going to get Unreal Engine 5 versions of 2 and 3 are incredible. I am very excited for this. This is what they were talking about when they said the other day that they're trying to use Halo Campaign Evolved as a jumping off point for bringing back the franchise. And how they're going to do that is not only are Xbox players going to be able to play it, not only are Steam players going to be playing it, but you're going to get it on PlayStation 5, and you could eventually get it on Nintendo Switch 2. And at that point, seeing Halo 1, 2, and 3 remade in a single-player format makes a lot of business sense, because it's going to introduce people into the franchise. And then when the free-to-play multiplayer comes out, people are going to have an attachment to it. I actually think it's pretty brilliant. Let's get your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will be like, boo, no multiplayer. And it's like, you guys got to realize, like, there's a lot of assets involved, a lot of support going on to try to do 2 and 3, like, and do their multiplayer. Because 1 is like, did it really have, it wasn't really ever like a true multiplayer game. You know what I mean? Like, it was, couch co-op. I mean, if you want to call that multiplayer, fine. But in realism, you're going to get that even better, So it's one of those things that I look at it and I say they're going to build a hub. If I would think, you know what I mean? Like, they're basically, you're going to have your campaigns. Like, there's certain games that I don't think, like my favorite's Reach. I don't think it really needs to be remade. You know what I mean? It's so well looking. It plays so well. I don't see them ever doing anything with that. So maybe the hub is just the original, the ones that, are being remade. And it's a little conundrum right now because you don't know what they're really thinking. That said, I never really played much of 2, which a lot of people would argue with me is the best one. Me personally, 3 was really good. And I got into the story and I caught up with it, using the interwebs. That said, you look at those games and you say, a lot of people would argue they don't want sprint. I say go for it, because I think at least in 2, it didn't grab me, maybe because of the pace of it. Obviously, we're going back so far that it's crazy that, we're getting these remakes finally. And then that's where we say, like, hey, thank you, Xbox, for at least thinking about these things. Obviously, it's a rumor, but, and that's where I say, like, I'm a little worried about it, because it depends on how a campaign evolved is really, is there going to be a lot of engagement, a lot of people that buy it on PlayStation? I think they're going to be looking at that.
Man. Oh, I
I
hope so. I hope so, Crispy.
because a lot of people are going to say, and this is where you get into the Gears part of it, you know, what about Reloaded? And I'm like, I said this when I saw it. Reloaded is a cash grab, people.
Yes.
You know, it was not, and that's why it came out with the multiplayer. In my opinion, it's not a remake. It's barely a remaster. Okay, like it's like just upgraded. That's really the way I look at it. This, they're going full on, and obviously, you know, the argument, you know, of having multiplayer or not, you don't need it, and that's because you really should put the focus on Chief, having the extra, you know, little stories in the beginning. You know, that's going to really engage the Halo OGs like yourself, Boom, because you're going to want to know that story. And so I really think it's the ability to kind of go back and say, this is what Chief is. This is why he's such an iconic character to not only a new subset of gamers, but also some of them that may never have owned an Xbox. You want to be mad about the exclusivity thing, be mad. But at the end of the day, you're getting new Halo stuff. And I think in this world we live in with these budgets, it's harder and harder to just stay on one platform. And that's why you've seen all of them, besides Nintendo, go to PC. And that's where I say everybody talks about, oh, but what about Nintendo? Well, when you got like games with a 50% plus attachment rate, okay, that they purchase, yeah, they don't have a need to do that. But when you see games from Xbox and PlayStation over the years barely hit 10 to 20% of their entire player base, it's kind of interesting to say, hey, like, let's go to PC and eventually go to the competing platform. These budgets are incredibly large. And that's why I think you're also seeing some of these remakes, because they might not be as large as it could be. And being as old as this game is, and yes, it had a slight remake before, but it's still not. What they showed is incredibly better than what you've seen. And that's where I say, go for it. Start doing some of these games that are 15 to 20 years old, you know, that really could use some visual upgrades. If UE5 keeps developing and becoming this platform that has the ability to help them do these games, then keep using it. Obviously, people have complaints about it, okay, but it's a updatable, you know, platform that I think is going to be used more and more for doing such things as these remakes. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes in the future. Obviously, once again, this is a rumor, and we'll see how Halo campaign evolved, you know, does on PlayStation.
So here's Silent Cypher. I know you don't have a lot to say, but let me set you up here. Okay, so Nintendo are the kings of remasters, right? They just released a pair. Now, granted, they're stunning. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 is stunning. It honestly is. So of course, I'm more than happy to buy 2 copies, one for me, one for Tyler. Right, sitting right there. I've been playing it. It's amazing. Sony PlayStation has re-released almost every one of their games. Now, granted, some like The Last of Us 1 compared to The Last of Us 1 remake, night and day. Incredible. Not so much for The Last of Us 2. It's barely noticeable. Most of the stuff that they released on PC, you know, with the Game of the Year edition, whatever, you know, Days Gone or you know, Ghost of Tsushima, they're slightly better. But when you look at what they have done for Halo Combat Evolved, the original 2001, even the championship version of it, you know, the CE, versus what they showed last Friday, it's incredible. Like, honestly, I know there's a lot of people in their feelings about the whole running, you know, sprint thing. Folks, FYI, if you're not a sprint guy or girl, it's okay. You can literally shut that off. They've made it where you can't sprint if you want to, because you can click a button and shut it off. So you can be this lingering Resident Evil OG1 tank and be happy with it. Awesome. But hearing that we could get the trilogy. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I saw someone put out a tweet. I don't have it in front of me, and they showed their Halo collection. They have all the physical games. Stunning to look at when you see it set up like that. So actually, a lot of people tweeting their whole collections. I wish I could get into storage because I would show mine as well. I think it's time for Xbox to do the same thing. And I do think that, the running conversation in these pictures that people were showing is that there's not a bad Halo game in the bunch. I kind of disagree there because Halo 5 is the red herring for me. It took me years after its release. I think I beat it when what was coming out. My God, I might have beaten it right before Infinite came out. I know it sounds crazy. I did not like 5 at all. I hated it. I really did. I thought graphics were great, beautiful, but the story was just. I hated the Prometheans. I couldn't stand them. I thought they were the most cheap, whack characters ever made. But whatever. Maybe I need to sit down and show the therapist on the doll on the Covenant doll. Where did Master Chief touch you, sir? But listen, I know it's not your main franchise, but this is still a big deal. If they are trying to get Halo to have a reset, this is probably the best way to do it. And again, 2 years ago, I think every OG Xbox fan would have been like, "Oh, F that, man. Don't put anything on PlayStation." But we've come to realize that that's not, in fact, the case. That it's just the way business is working. I think, and Fuzzy, we'll get Fuzzy's, thought in a second. Crispy brought up a really great point, but he's not sure how the PlayStation Nation is going to, respond to Master Chief coming to their platform of choice. And some people were bringing up Gears of War Reloaded. Gears of War Reloaded, if I have to pick a kind of like shaking your head, like I was excited for it because you and I were talking about this for like a year. Oh man, they're going to redo it in Unreal Engine 5. And that's what we got. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I beat it. I played through it. I didn't get a chance to actually play through it with my brother because the schedule just couldn't work it out. Is out of all the releases this year on Xbox is probably my biggest disappointment because it was just what it was. It was okay. It's Gears 1, but if they would have given Gears 1 the same exact treatment that they're doing for Campaign Evolved, holy shit, that would have been something special. I don't know why they didn't do that. So now I'm in the boat like, oh, listen, I hope they don't do 2 and 3. At this point, I don't even care. Don't. If you're not going to do it all the way, don't go. But Silent, let's get your thoughts on the rumored Halo 2 and 3 remake. Do you think that this could actually jumpstart the PlayStation community to introducing them to Halo simply because they are more single player focused than multiplayer?
Well, so I'll start it off by saying it's not that Halo isn't a big franchise for me because I spent a lot of time with it when I first got onto an Xbox. It was a very big franchise for me. I really enjoyed my time with it starting from the very beginning. I fashioned because I had surgery on my left arm during the time that Halo 2 was out.
Oh, wow.
And it was like right as it was coming, or it was right as the 360 was coming out, actually. And it was back when we'd use Halo 2 as basically like a chat lobby because we didn't have party chat traditionally the way we do now. So like I couldn't use my hand. So I actually wadded up paper towel and put it under the left thumbstick and forced it so my character was always running forward. And then I just used my right hand as the pistol grip and basically just shooting. And if I needed to throw a grenade, I'd press my controller into my leg to throw the grenade. And I got really good at just using one hand playing Halo, which was kind of a, just a silly thing, of course. But going back to it, I have a lot of respect and a lot of enjoyment in Halo. this version of Halo that they're trying to present is not my version of Halo.
Yeah.
And Crispy Bomb did make the comment about, boohoo, it doesn't have multiplayer. Well, I will say that giving as they're going to charge a premium price for this, it should have a multiplayer, because charging 70 to 80 bucks for a slightly repatched up or slightly glossed up version of the campaign is not really my deal. Not a big fan of that personally. More than anything, I just kind of feel like it's dancing on like the corpse that we remember and that we love, by adding weapons, putting in sprint, which then affects the gameplay pacing of the original game and takes away from a lot of the core that was Halo 1. It's still going to be a Halo product, and that's cool. But at the same time, it's not our Halo. It's not going to play the same because of the changes that they're making. And I'm sure that appeals to some folks, but to me, we talk about these cash grabs, and I think this is a prime example of a cash grab, because Microsoft could just release the Master Chief Collection on the PlayStation Store, call it a day, and everyone could have all those games right there that they could play. But what does releasing the campaign separately over and over again do for you? It allows you to charge them for Halo 1, 2, 3, etc. over and over again over a series of years, instead of just giving them all the toys all in one spot with the Master Chief Collection. So, we talk about stuff like Gears of War Reload, which was very much a cash grab. Well, if the stuff we've heard about the financials are true about how they're supposed to be getting all this extra percentage, right? Sorry, hold on one second. Sorry, getting over a cold. Anyways, if that information is true, and we hear that they're supposed to be getting all this extra cash out of Xbox, the Gears of War Reloaded got announced and got released after we had heard that stuff got implemented. When did we hear about Halo getting a remake? After that stuff was potentially implemented. So again, it goes back to, if it wasn't a cash grab, then by all means, go ahead and release the entire Master Chief Collection right now on PlayStation. Or if you want to charge them 50 to 80 bucks per campaign over the next few years, then, that to me looks like a cash grab and doesn't look like really the way that you had to do it. That's the way that you make a bunch of extra money off of something you already had. And again, file save as, make look better. I mean, it is what it is. Eventually we'll end up with a new Halo. But I don't think this is the way to do it.
That's fair.
And
fair thought.
And I do have to throw something else out there, because if I'm already getting the pitchforks, I may as well just go full bore. Halo Infinite was a bore to me. Personally, it wasn't what I was looking for. I didn't need an open world Halo. I was looking for something that had more lore, more story, more interesting information.
You're more of a corridor shooter kind of a guy, is what you're saying.
For something like this, yeah. I mean, like I've got stuff like the old Crackdowns and stuff like that I loved running around and doing all the things, or like the Lord of the Rings Shadow games, right? It's like, I have nothing wrong with an open world if it's implemented properly. But I feel like the Halo one, unfortunately, was just very empty. It felt like Legend of Zelda to me, where I go out there, I'm like, all right, there's really not a lot out there to do, but I'll eventually get some story again, and it'll be all right. But personally, for me, I actually enjoyed the Halo 5 campaign. And that's why I say I'll get the pitchforks on that one too. I preferred the Halo 5 campaign over the Halo Infinite campaign. It tied it in and held it together and made it more of a linear story and gave you those story beats instead of you having to try and find the story, which that just wasn't what I was asking for as a Halo fan personally.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, listen, you brought up a lot of great points. I see a lot of people, of course, they disagree with you, and that's what this is a great conversation. I'm glad that you actually are not in agreeing. No, you don't. Not everyone's going to agree. Not everyone has to like the same game. I mean, the pushback that I have for that I would say is that for you, this is not your Halo. And that sentiment is not wrong. That sentiment is very outspoken and has been since this was shown off. I do like the fact that you are getting the ability to shut off sprint so you don't have to have it. So if you want to be a lungering Hulk, you can do that. You're going to play the game. If you decide to play the game. The reason my only pushback regarding the whole segment is you say cash grab and you might not you might be onto something, because obviously they're going to try and make money on a franchise that was never on PlayStation. But where my pushback would come is that it is the 25th anniversary of the game. And unlike some of the other anniversaries that we've seen come and go that they haven't done anything for, like, for instance, Fallout New Vegas, when they showed up during the stream for the Fallout Day, I'm like, oh my God, here we go. They're going to release a Series X and S and PS5 version. Let's effing go. And we got a PC 15th anniversary edition, and it was like a wet fart. It just anything for anybody
without really any upgrades or anything from what it looks like too, because it's basically
exactly
just
the same.
PC version, and they're just providing you a bunch of extra crap that you can buy and put on shelf.
Pretty much.
I agree with you fully. Honestly, I would have personally preferred if we got a Fallout Vegas over a new Halo.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
personally.
Listen, I mean, I'd have been dancing in the streets. There's no doubt about it. But shout out to Music 72 says poor Boom. I'll be all right. Don't worry. It's okay.
It's like I told you outside of the show, is like, I've been getting this heat for the last like week or two since they showed the trailer. Is like, I know it's not a popular opinion, and that's fine. But my thing is like, you could still say like, hey, let's celebrate the Halo, or let's celebrate the anniversary by bringing Master Chief Collection to a brand new set of gamers, instead of putting the resources into just a polish up of a campaign. Because the thing is like, if you're wanting to try and get more monthly active users, putting out a campaign that they're going to ponies are either going to play for like the 3 or 4 hours, and then they're just gonna crap on it for the rest of time, or they're not going to play it and they're just gonna crap on it anyways, and then you're not getting any more monthly active users. So I would just ask, like, what is this really achieving except for getting more money? That's all it's doing.
I mean, listen, I again, this is what I love about the panel. Not everybody always agrees. I think that you're onto something with them wanting to make money. Of course, every corporation wants to make money, but I think that what they've done with it, if you can, again, I've seen the side by sides. It's not just a coat of paint over this. They remade this thing, and I'm excited to see. I first of all, I was so disappointed that I didn't get a chance to play. Like I wasn't invited, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I get invited to a lot of things. This is one of those things that I wish I would have got hands on and had an opportunity to play, because I'm one of the biggest Halo fans in the Xbox community. For someone that didn't do PC gaming, who knew Wolfenstein and Doom from like other people playing it, never really played it myself until years later. This is what changed first-person shooting FPS games for console. For home console, it's Halo that brought that to the mainstream of gamers. It was never done before unless you played on PC. So for me, it's always going to have a real sweet spot in my heart. But listen, Fuzzy, let's bring you in, and we got to get to the big topic of the show because we're running into an hour already. I want to get your thoughts on this because, again, we talked about it on Monday regarding the what Halo Campaign Evolved looked like. We both were amazed. We can't wait for it. It's going to be dropped into Xbox Game Pass. I'm hoping that they go big and they do some sort of a $200 collector's edition that comes with a special edition statue or a new helmet, or do something, please. Have a bunch of controllers. Have Todd McFarlane come back and design a control like he did for both controllers, the Covenant and the Halo one, which I still have, by the way, from Halo 3. I hope they go big. What are your thoughts on that? We could get 2 and 3, and again, it's a rumor, but it sounds very promising.
I think it's plausible for the fact that they're going to want to introduce the PlayStation player base that didn't leave the 360 for the Xbox One, PS4 generation. I think it makes sense as far as warming them up to a all hands on deck free to play coming down the pipe. So it has a purpose, I think, because I like I've said before, with them not having the multiplayer, it feels like they didn't want to have the PlayStation player base feel bad and get slaughtered on the multiplayer, not being familiar with the lore and the mechanics of Halo. So releasing them in series kind of makes sense, but I also do like the idea of them getting more money out of the PlayStation player base, especially considering how vocal they've been about they'd be willing to like when the news came out about Spider-Man being broken up into 3 parts, they didn't seem to object to that, or paying $80 or whatever for their their single player story driven narratives. And here they're getting story driven narratives from another platform, but Xbox, or at least Microsoft, was listening to when they were making those claims, and now we'll see if they'll support the devs like they always claim that they do. So it double-edged sword, but I definitely see something like this happening. A lot of the older titles, much like what we've said with PlayStation, if they're sitting there collecting dust, everybody that's on your platform that's wanting to play it has already purchased it. Why not put those that are not gaining any more players on the other platform and see how much you can garner? Like it definitely worked when it came to things like Forza Horizon 5 going over there. They haven't had a decent arcade racer over there in some time. Yeah, I know they have Gran Turismo, but it's a sim racer that a lot of people buy but don't continue to play, or at least as much as I continue to play it. So having an arcade racer that's a lot more accepting and casual, that definitely shows how accepting they were of that. It was like I think it's still their number one selling title on the platform this year, outside of probably Call of Duty coming later. But all in all, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they release 2 and 3 at a later date. Just the single player campaign, and whenever we have that free to play multiplayer that's on par with Warzone or the way Infinite was, then they'll be included in the multiplayer, probably day one, and then they could be up for slaughter then, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, wouldn't be surprised if they do it.
Well, again, it's going to be very interesting. I just think, and shout out to D Block TV in the chat. He said I gave a very bad Gears take. So shout out to you. I appreciate the honesty, brother. Look, I'm a big Gears dude. And for me personally, why Gears means so much to me isn't because of the franchise itself. It's because of the relationship with my brother, Neo Mental, and how we played online. And again, this is a little TLDR stuff. When we were kids, we used to sit in each other's rooms on the bed playing Nintendo or Sega or whatever. And as we got older and we were working, we're now grown up, we're playing Gears of War. For me and my brother Neo Mento is just as classic as it honestly gets. That and the Division. Division 2 a little bit, but Division 1, me, Artie, Scoop, a bunch of our like our neighborhood friends that we grew up with, we used to roll in packs in the Division 1. And it's those moments for me personally that really stand out. I played through it. I not begrudgingly. I enjoyed my I don't know 20th playthrough of Gears 1. I've probably beaten it more times than that. But I was expecting Series X level upgrades, and what we got is what we got. It was fine. It did the job. I played through it. I enjoyed it. But again, if Gears Reloaded would have acted and looked like what we saw that Halo Campaign Evolved is going to look like, that would have been a worthy return. And I just think that they cheaped out on it, man. That's the best thing. I guess that's the best, the nicest thing I can say about it is that they cheaped out on it. They really did. But again, listen, I played through it, I beat it, and you know it's fine. But I really wish they would have given it the TLC that we're seeing Halo get next year. You know, but you know that's just my thoughts on it. But listen, before we get into this incredible and ridiculous theory of mine, I know the virtual tomatoes are going to come, so I'm going to go put on my virtual poncho so I can just wipe the tomatoes off. I think I'm onto something here, folks. I really do. I have shared this idea with Brett Bingham, who's in the chat, and a few others, and I got a lot of King Webb also. I shared this with a few others that I talk to on a regular basis, and I floated this idea that we're going to get into. Folks, I'm going to be honest with you. This is complete speculation. This is my own thoughts and theories. You might think it's insane, but I think I'm on to something here. Before we get there, I got to catch up on Super Chats. There's been a lot of them. So we have a new channel member. It's, he goes, because they changed it again with the ats. Genesis Fan 01, but I think that's Abacab 72. And I know that because of his icon. If that is Abacab 72, thank you for becoming a new member, brother. That's very kind of you. We definitely appreciate that here. We also have Look at Me, Will the Broke Boy Insider drops a very generous $5 super chat and says on February 27th it comes out. Switch 2 is releasing a RE Generation pack with Requiem Village Gold Edition and Biohazard Gold Edition for $90. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to buy that. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I know this, it's crazy, folks. Like when Resident Evils came out, Resident Evil 2 remake, I bought it on both platforms and I beat it on both platforms. I'm a Resident Evil freak. That is my core. What makes me a gamer is Resident Evil. And it's surprisingly that wasn't my most scary game because my brother and I, real quick, I don't want to go off the program. I forgot about this story. So when Resident Evil 1 came out on the PlayStation, my brother Neo Mento was working at Funkoland on Central Avenue in Yonkers. I was a police officer at that point. I got on the job at 94, so that came out here in the States 96. So I was 2 years on the job. This was something out of a movie, folks. My brother sold everything in his room that he could possibly sell to get the PlayStation and Resident Evil. I mean, he was wrapping wires. And anybody from the hood knows what I'm talking about. You got to sell whatever you got. We were selling wires, right? So my brother sold everything in his room to get the PlayStation 1 because it was expensive back in the days, right? And again, you know, I just started my new job. He's working at Funkoland. How much money are we really making? If I told you how much money I brought home every 2 weeks to chase people with guns, you'd fall out of a chair. I was bringing home $793 as a New York City police officer every 2 weeks in 94. Yes, that was the reality. After taxes, I was bringing home under $800. So listen, I was like a kid. I was only 23, I think, at that time. He gets the console, he gets the game, and we're in his room, and it's about, I want to say it's about 12 of us, and everybody is just lined up around the TV, just like you would see in like a cartoon. Like that's how it was for us. Like our crew was 20 deep, and we hung out with everybody. Every race, creed, color was in that room. It did not matter. We were all from the same neighborhood. We were watching my brother play Resident Evil, and we're all like hunched over. The room is dark. All you see is the light of the TV. And my brother starts to go into the hallway where those effing dogs broke through the window. We all fell back. Whoa! Like it was freaking hilarious. I mean, again, I miss those days. As great as online play is, you play with millions of people all across the world. Everybody that did what I just talked about is probably smiling right now. That's what gaming was all about. and we all fell back, and people rolling around on the floor. We were all laughing. My brothers pulled it because no wireless controls back then. He freaking pulled it out of the PlayStation 1. It was great. So again, it's an old man story, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. But let me continue with the super chats. J Mac in the chat drops a very generous $2 super chat. He says, "Silent Cipher, you scary, you're scary AF. LOL, please move."
Hey, I'm moving. I move all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. That seems like to me a mannequin or a dummy because you're just too still.
Where else would I be?
You could be on the side, bro. Like I think there's a banana. I was gonna say a banana in a tailpipe. I think it's more like a butcher knife in a tailpipe waiting to happen right here. There's a
closet over here to the side. What? My goodness.
Oh my goodness. So you're not wrong for that, J Mac. Also, Abacab72, well, again, he's been a channel member for 44 months, bro. That's very kind of you. He says, "I would add Condemned, Outlast." Oh, yes. Eternal Darkness was freaking, those are great picks. First of all, Outlast is terrifying, but I forgot about Eternal Darkness. Eternal Darkness was really good. That's an OG GameCube title, bro. That's a really good pick. Also, once again, an additional very generous $5 super chat from Look at Me, the Broke Boy. He says, "Don't know if you saw, Boom, the Ren's Nov operator pack for pack you got for pre-ordering Black Ops 7 will not be playable operator in Black Ops 7, only available." That's I don't. That's to me is weird. I look. I don't want to gum up the show. We got to continue with the topic, but I gotta say the people at Activision, you're cowards. You're cowards. Look, I spent a lot of money on Black Ops 6, and I have a chick that's a goth vampire chick, and I paid for her. I should be able to use her in Black Ops 7. I think these purists that are talking about, well, it's not real war. Morons, it's a effing video game. You're going around murdering people and getting kills and calling in airstrikes, and you're just a nerd. It's not real gaming, so get over it. I think, and again, this could be. I can actually write an original topic for this. I think the no ridiculous skins in Black Ops 7 because we got scared of the community. You're cowards. You're absolutely cowards at Activision for bending the knee for that. Who cares what people think? And I'm sorry, Black Ops is going to be the biggest selling game this year on every platform. That's just what happens.
If you want a game, that doesn't have all that and is basically a saltine shooter experience, you have Battlefield.
You're welcome. Battlefield 6, very boring. Yes, yeah, there you go. So someone asked me in the chat what I think about Battlefield 6. I played the beta and I was like, I canceled my pre-order. I said, you know what? I'm not going to be running 18 miles. I'm going to run for 18 minutes to get to where everyone's fighting and then to be shot and sniped and have to do it all over again. I said, it's just not my bag. It's fine. People who love Battlefield, congratulations. You got a saltine shooter. Good for you. I'll play Black Ops. Thanks. Sorry for the rant, folks, but yeah, that's that kind of pisses me off there. I think that if you buy the like if I want to run around as Predator or first of all, I know you bought the Silent Cipher. There's a Jason Voorhees one, of course, classic Jason.
Better believe it.
They have a tactical Jason Voorhees skin.
Mm-hmm.
If I could curse on without ending it, I would do it right now. It's awesome. You're running around as Jason Voorhees, a tactical Jason Voorhees skin. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yes.
Yeah, and it's the new Jason Universe skin too.
Yes,
so it's got a little bit of that extra funky look to it. Like it's pretty dope, intimidating dude. Looking.
I bought the minute I saw it, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I don't want to use the old Jason Voorhees. I want the tactical Jason. That is freaking dope. So
Yeah.
There's that. So we have Nino Vestic, our generous friend, all the way from Hawaii. He has gifted 1 Double Barrel Gaming membership, as he's done so many times before. Brother, that is very kind of you. Thank you so much for the generosity, as you always do. Aloha to you and the family as well. Brett Bingham in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, the next Halo needs to bring back Spartan Ops. Was a great post-story experience. They should consider making it like a Helldivers-like experience. Oh, bro, that's dope. I hope that they look. I want whatever they're gonna do with Halo 7. And that's, you know what? Honestly, I don't know even where they go, because we got shortchanged with Infinite. We lost so much of that story due to the incompetence in leadership at 343, now Halo Studios, and most of those people, thank goodness, are gone. Like, I know there's been like a lot of conversation. Oh, the 17-year arbiter. You know what? If you've been there for 17 years and Halo has been the way it's been, you're probably part of the problem. Have a night. Go enjoy yourself in your new studio. It's fine. I think what they should have done 3 years ago when Pierre took over is completely wash the entire room and get all new people in there. Anybody that wants to stay and follow what Pierre's vision for the new Halo, the modern Halo, is going to be, stay. If you don't, there's the door. Because I think what they've done since, and again, thank goodness for Pierre and his team. I mean, I'm not working side by side. I know there's been some people like, oh yeah, it's been, it's been so condemning to work at. Listen, you go find another job if you can't work there. I don't know what to tell you, but I think that the 20-year veteran of this and the 17-year veteran left of this. Well, you've been there for that long, and Halo's kind of sucked. So whose fault is it? Is it the new guy's fault, or is it the old guard? I think it's the old guard. Sorry. But yeah, great point of view. Rick L drops a very generous $10 super chat. He says, happy Halloween, Boom panel and chat. Happy Halloween to you, brother. Be safe. Enjoy the day. Hargi Chani drops a very generous $2 super chat, and he does what he always does. Like Paris Italy, he wanted to remind us, ladies and gentlemen, that remember, Xbox is dead. Of course it is. Happy Halloween. But listen, chat, gentlemen, we got to get into this redonkulous thought and theory. So I sent you guys over what I think could be happening for next year. So folks, you're going to have to walk with me on this. Okay. Next year, Xbox is celebrating its 25th anniversary, right? We talked about Halo. Gears E-Day is coming out. Forza is finally going to Japan. Fable is going to have its direct in January, thanks to a story from Jez Corden a couple of weeks ago. We know that Modern Warfare 4 from Infinity Ward is releasing in the fall, as per the normal, release schedule for Call of Duty. We could get the Clockwork Revolution as well, and there's going to be other surprise releases in there. Now, myself, along with a lot of people in the Xbox community, and this is unofficial, folks, have heard that they're pulling out all the stops for the 25th anniversary of Xbox. And one of those stops, I personally think, this is where I'm asking for you to walk with me on this, is we've heard for months now. Silent Cypher, I'm going to do you first. Actually, you know what? I'll go to Crispy first, because Crispy and I were talking about this. So, Crispy, you and I have been talking about this behind the scenes in our own personal DM. And for months, we have heard that besides the Asus handhelds that released earlier in October in the form of the Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X, the rumor is that Xbox, Asus, and AMD have been working on what is expected to be an OEM home console device released next year. Now, this is something that this is not the first time you're hearing this. We've heard this from Colt Eastwood. We've heard it from Shinobi 602. We've heard it from Okami_13. There's been a lot of rumors from many of the big social mediaites, if you will, of Twitter. People have done videos. People have done podcasts. I've talked about it. Crispy has talked about it. Everybody on this panel has talked about it. And why that's interesting is if this device releases next year, we don't know how much this device is going to be. Now, people are saying, I know there's a running rumor, oh, every Xbox device now is going to be $1,200. Well, here's why that's not going to happen. First of all, and this was broken down, and I wish I remember who said this. When you look at the Xbox handheld, right, it was $1,000. And the reason why it's $1,000, obviously tariffs, sure. We all know that. But you have to remember you're trying to get speakers, a screen, a heat sink, a battery, and you're trying to get all of these chips shrunk down into this handheld that somehow works. The magic of technology, it just works, right? Consoles are not going to follow the same guidelines. So this next console, even though it's probably going to be expensive, I don't think it's going to be $1,000. It could be $700 or $800. And after the response from gamers with the handhelds, I think that this sets up that it could, in fact, be the first OEM box underneath your TV for Xbox. And like Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer have said publicly, they're taking what they have learned from working with Asus and moving that into their own hardware, which has not been confirmed, but is expected to release in 2027. Well, next year, ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest games of the year, as much as I'd love to say that's Halo, Gears, Forza, Wolverine, a new Mario, a new Zelda, it's not. It's Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, Grand Theft Auto 6 was supposed to release this year, and it was delayed until May of 26. I think we're going to get one more delay. And I say that, with no insider information. It's Rockstar. This is just what they do. And May, yeah, that's a great time to release a game. There's not a lot happening, but it's right before the summer. A lot of people are going to be traveling. They're going to want to get. I mean, listen. Whenever this game releases, it could release on a Thursday at 3:00 in the morning. They're going to sell a bazillion copies. It's probably going to sell in its first week 25 million copies. And I might be undercutting it, but Crispy Bomb. This is where I might get the virtual tomatoes. This is where I might get the applause, because one of PlayStation's more outspoken, PlayStation Nation community members, Detective Seeds. Now, I don't really talk with him. Not that I don't like the guy. I don't really have nothing against him. Sometimes he can be very trolly, but that's fine. It's it's his business. He said, and he had, according to him, that it was confirmed that PlayStation had sent out a bunch of technicians, and they're working side by side with the folks at Rockstar Games to get Grand Theft Auto 6 on the PlayStation 5 running at 60 frames. I don't know how they're going to do it, but somehow that's going to happen. I would imagine more so on the Pro than the regular PS5, because if it can run on the PS5 at 60 frames, the Xbox version is going to be able to run at 60 frames. Now, I don't know so much about the S, but I don't think the S is going to be a problem either, because literally the head of 2K said, no, don't worry about anything. We've worked it out. The S is not going to be a problem. So they're going to get it working. That's probably why it's been delayed. And I can't say specifically it's because of the S. But so some of the running conversation, especially in games media, has been, well, the best place to play Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the PlayStation. I beg to differ. And my thought and theory is that if this OEM device does in fact come out, I think, and this is, again, folks, my personal opinion on this, and it could be incredibly wrong, and it could be incredibly skewed. And if that's the case, so be it. But it is a thought and a theory. Crispy, what if Xbox, AMD, and Asus are working side by side the same way it was reported by Detective Seeds for PlayStation's technicians to go over to Rockstar. What if this next OEM device releases day and date with Grand Theft Auto 6? It will be the best place to play Grand Theft Auto. And for a lot of people who are on PS4s and PS4 Pros and OG Xbox One and One X and S, this could be an opportunity. And again, I know that I'm not talking about console sales. Talking about the best place to play Grand Theft Auto 6 may actually not be a PlayStation. Now, it's probably going to sell the best on PlayStation, just like Black Ops 6 did last year. That's not a surprise. It has 80 million plus consoles in the wild. It has a lot of players as opposed to the 35 to 40 million that the Xbox X and S have. Now, I don't think it's closer to 40. I think it's closer to 35, but that's still, I think PlayStation wins that battle. But if you are a gamer who wants to play the best version of this actually could happen. Now, again, it's just a theory, folks. Crispy, I want to get your thoughts on this because you think I might be onto something here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about it, that would give them some decent sales up front. Depends the price, obviously. I think you got to look at what they're doing. This is an Xbox thing. Everybody is kind of like, chuckling at it, but in realism, with this handheld that just came out, this is the way they're going. They're going to release, it's going to be like your gaming PCs or PCs in general, especially the laptops, gaming laptops. If you think of them, like, you have your services, you have all these different companies involved. And in realism, they really just want to, make an Xbox experience happen on all of these devices. And I think, in the beginning stages we're at right now, but in realism, the cloud is going to be the infrastructure that they're going to leverage on a lot of things. But you're going to want these experiences that don't involve that or have a little need of it. So, it's logical. Could it be reversed? I mean, everybody that they're going to release their own hardware without anybody else, like a ASUS out there. And, could they have already be ahead on that? And we're really going to see OEMs after. The point is that you're going to be able to play GTA. And this is crazy to think about, because of 5 on all of these iterations for another 10 to 15 years. So that platform is going to be agnostic. Yes, it's technically coming to PC later, but they're just going to continually sell this until no end. And we've seen it with 5. So Xbox going out there and saying, this is our anniversary. We have the opportunity to work with partners to get a console out there is completely logical. To have GTA on top of all the other things coming out and having the abilities that could be provided with this new subset of consoles, it gives the great opportunity to have like such a launch experience like we've never seen before. And I really think, like, even though people hate on the Xbox One, those launch titles were pretty impressive. I think to have this experience focused on games and gaming, a lot of people would be like, oh, exclusivity. I mean, the way they're doing it, it's just not logical anymore. And in realism, they're going to put out as much software as possible next year to really say, hey, we're here to stay. You're not just getting a couple games, you're getting more than a handful. And this is our anniversary. And oh, by the way, here's our partner, ASUS, possibly saying this is a PC hybrid console that is going to play all of your games. and it is going to have all the bells and whistles you want, but it's going to feel like an Xbox. I think that would be a statement to gaming in general, to say, hey, we are trying to change something that hasn't been really changed in a long time, and this is how we're going to do it. And as long as they do it correctly, I think it could be something that we look back on in 10 to 15 years and say Xbox really changed the entire gaming landscape. And I think that's what they're going for. Whether it works or not, we will see.
Great points, brother. Great points. Look, Silent Cypher, there were a couple of things happening with Xbox specifically. Now, as you heard me say, Detective Seeds had made mention, and he wasn't the only one. There were a few other reports about technicians from PlayStation working side by side with Rockstar. That makes perfect sense because PlayStation knows that they're going to be getting 30% of every, or maybe it's even 80%. I don't know, 20%, because I don't know what the cut is for Rockstar. Maybe they, moved it up to 80%, their take, versus 20 for PlayStation and all the other platforms. Who knows how that's going to work? But Sony PlayStation is going to sell a boatload of copies of Grand Theft Auto 6. And the same way that Sony sent over their technicians, well, Xbox has their own group of technicians that work closely with 2K as well. And they will work just as close with Rockstar. So one of the pushbacks I saw in the chat is that it's not coming to PC. And that's probably true. And even though these are, people that do not and will not admit that the Xbox Ally X and the S are Xbox handhelds, they're PC handhelds, they're still Play Anywhere. Now, there's going to be somebody in the chat that's going to push back on and say, oh, there's no way Rockstar is going to allow for Play Anywhere. Well, if you keep your ear to the socials, one of the running conversations that seems to be getting a lot of eyeballs on is people are making their choice to buy a game based on the fact that it is a Play Anywhere title. The Silent Hill 2 remake just got updated, and it's coming out for Xbox. Apparently, if you look at if I saw somebody post it, I didn't read it myself, so I don't know if it's true, but that might be a Play Anywhere title. More and more releases are becoming Play Anywhere titles. And why that's important is because Play Anywhere is a big push from Xbox. They want you to be able to play a game that you purchase on your tablet, your TV, your pewter, wherever you want to play, your handheld, your console, it doesn't matter. Who's to say that Xbox doesn't work out a deal to get one of the biggest games of 2026 to be a Play Anywhere title? I don't see why that can happen. Play Anywhere doesn't do anything or hurt Rockstar in any way. It just gives the purchaser the ability to play the game wherever they want. And I think that is a brilliant way of gaming and moving forward. And it's something, it's a new thing that I think Xbox is leading the charge on. Let me get your thoughts on this. Could this OEM device that's been rumored to be releasing next year release around the same time as GTA? And would it ultimately be the best place to play, because it's probably going to run it the best based on the fact that this hybrid console PC is going to be new tech, and it's going to be even more powerful than the Series X or the PlayStation 5 Pro?
So I guess the biggest thing for me, right, is like, we know that the next gen is obviously going to be very high end.
Yep.
Who's to say that this one, like, we don't realistically know what the specs are going to be for this one, but you could potentially, again, like, having someone else do this thing as like a collaboration, partnership, or whatever, or just doing this extra hardware to make it a function. I've kind of talked about the idea that, like, with some of these new systems are coming out, if you have other people bringing out systems and options and stuff, besides Microsoft, you could target specific things, right? Like if you had someone that didn't really care that much about the resolution, you could specifically upgrade to cater more to like high frames, but at like a 1080p locked, for example. So you could have hardware that's kind of geared more towards like 120 frames, but not as high a resolution. You could do a more premium tier version, which it sounds like potentially is in the works. Sarah had kind of mentioned the fact that like this one that's coming out from them is supposedly like very premium, etc. You can take that however you want. That could mean like the specs and the capability. It could mean the price point. It could mean both. It's hard to say. But for this one, because we had heard for a while that there was a possibility that we were going to see another system come out in 2026 prior to the actual like next gen proper. And so, you know, that kind of lines up with the idea of like, well, yeah, you could bring it out and you could have it for GTA 6, like you're talking about. That seems like it could be a possibility, especially as we've seen what they're doing with the Xbox ROG Ally systems. It's not an unrealistic thing for someone to bring out another system that would allow you to do those things and it be a partner system like through ROG or through Asus. I mean, so I could see something like that happening. And honestly, you know, like that would definitely take some wind out of the sails of Sony. If you had an Xbox system that came out and then all of a sudden was the like high tier place to play. But it does make me a little bit interested to see, like, obviously we'll never know all the details, but I would imagine there's a lot of money in the background on this thing. We don't know for sure, but Sony most likely does have the marketing. And they probably have something, especially since we've known for a little bit now what Microsoft's plans are. They probably have something in the verbiage that says like, hey, this can't be played on anything that allows you to use like the Xbox wrapper or something like that, for example. Like they could possibly do something to try and block it. That being said, like will it happen that way? I don't know. Like it feels like it's too early to tell. Microsoft is going in a different direction with this, and I think that's what a lot of the Sony fanboys are having a hard time with right now, is the fact that like Microsoft isn't dancing the same way that they used to. Opening this up and making it more of a platform war thing is not necessarily something that they were prepared for, because like Sony is still very much targeted to attack things the same way that they have in the past.
Yeah.
From what it sounds like the PS6 is going to be very much another PlayStation. Whereas with Xbox, we know they're moving into a different approach. And there was talks initially, right? Like, I'm sure you remember the talks where they're like, well, they're just going to block it, so you can't play Sony games on your handheld and blah, blah, blah. So that way you can't have that win, right? Of like, oh yeah, I can play PlayStation games on an Xbox. We know that angers them thoroughly.
Oh, Shuhei Yoshida has been trolling the PlayStation community for weeks now, right? He's been playing everything from PlayStation on that Xbox Ally.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, like it's good to see, and he has had some critiques too, because like I know a lot of people on the Sony side have like raked him over the coals for his recent behavior, but he has had recommendations and like things that he'd like to see improved on it too. Like he's not just suddenly turned a new leaf and been like, oh, this thing's a masterpiece. He's had some constructive criticism about the system and things that could be changed. And it's been good to see someone actually take a lot of that like fanboyism and just set it to the side and like, you know, have a chuckle about it, but actually just get down to doing what we all want to do, which is playing games, right? Like playing games where we can, when we can. That's what it's all about. And so I've enjoyed watching that, because like his takes have set Twitter ablaze. Like I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I've seen the screenshots and it's hilarious. But yeah, it does make me wonder, like, I could see a world where Sony potentially has something in the marketing rights for this thing, if they do indeed have the marketing rights, which realistically they probably do. They probably have some sort of clause or some sort of wording that allows them to try and block Microsoft to a point on like how you can actually play these things. It'd be curious, like if they had I mean, the thing is like if the system comes out and it's got that wrapper and Sony doesn't have anything they can do to block it, then yeah, like this thing could come out and knock the PS Pro out of the water. Because realistically, like the PS5 Pro's specs aren't that glorious anyways. So it's not a high bar to hit. Like you could easily right now go put together a PC and knock it out of the wire just fine. Like it's always been the case with consoles. The consoles are always underpowered versus what you can make with a PC.
Yes.
So you could easily bring something to market that kicks the pants out of both consoles, like easily. You could do it real quick, and you could do it in a micro ATX board format. You could have it in a micro tower and have it take up like very little space. So it is doable. It'll be very interesting to see if Sony figured out a way to try and block those type of things. But again, if it's got the Xbox wrapper, if it allows you to like stream it to the system or whatever, there is a good possibility the PS5 Pro is going to look extremely weak. If something like this actually happens, who knows if it will, but it would be pretty funny. I'd enjoy it. I'd probably create another Twitter account just to jump on and watch all the salt flow for like the couple weeks after it released.
You have to add salt to your name, Silent Salt or something.
Silent Salter.
Yeah, there you go. And it's got to be you dancing with a salt shaker like this, with a Jason mask or something. I don't know. It's you'd have to do that. Look, I'll say this. I did, Brett Bingham. I actually did see your DM because I multitask what I'm doing here. So when I'm not welcoming in everybody, which I think I've done today, I'm also checking out like DMs and stuff. That we're gonna get into that on Monday's show. Fuzzy, I'll share it with you after the show. That's a pretty big freaking deal. But Fuzzy, look, you're our tech guy on the panel, right? You understand tech more than pretty much anybody. Silent Cypher brought up a great point about Sony potentially, blocking. Look, I'll say this. You're not wrong for Sony wanting to do that. Sony does not have that kind of power. And they don't have that power because it's GTA. GTA has the power. Rockstar has the power. So does 2K, who is the publisher. They're not going to do or settle for anything, no matter how much money that Sony offers them. Because, like, I think, who was it that just said this in the chat? I've seen it a couple of times. Let me see who it was here. TD314 says, to be honest, GTA doesn't need marketing. It's more like the platform needs GTA to promote their own platform. See, that's the running narrative, and I think you're onto something, TD. Welcome to the program, brother. Yeah, I think again, it's easy to assume that just PlayStation is going to get the marketing because they're PlayStation. They have 80 million consoles, and I guarantee you that it's going to sell so much in its first 24 hours. I don't think it's going to break every world record there is. I guarantee you and I'm undershooting it here. It's going to it's going to be the first game to break $1 billion in 24 hours. And I think I'm undercutting it. I think it might be more.
Yeah.
I do want to get your thoughts on this because, again, next year is a big year for Xbox, right? We know that there's a rumored OEM device, and the reason why that's still happening is because they're using these pieces of hardware to learn how to build their own in 27, where not only are you going to get rumor 2 pieces of hardware in the dockable and the big boy, but this is where the OEM devices are going to start to come out in every price that you can imagine. There's going to be lower end models, medium end models, and super high end models, and they're going to be from everybody. Lenovo is going to be a part of it. Alienware, Dell. You're going to have everyone making these things because The same way they're making handhelds right now. If they get the license and Xbox is going to sell that license, you're going to get Xbox consoles made from every manufacturer that's not Microsoft. But next year specifically, Fuzzy, I really do think that if this console does line up with the GTA launch, it could be a really big deal, especially if it's more PC-like. It would be the best place to play this game. Let's get your thoughts.
Oh, there's so many areas I can go with this, and I'll start with the easier parts first. Keep in mind, while Take-Two might not be the best company for Play Anywhere titles and things like that, they are one of the main ones, with the exception of probably GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption. They're one of the main ones where you can stream your own games. So that's one step removed from Play Anywhere. Because if you own the game, you can still play it, be it via streaming on a PC and things along those lines. So I would not be surprised if buying it allows you to stream it. But we'll get more into that in here in a minute. So take in mind or take into account all the mafias. I think since 25, pretty much all their sporting 2K stuff. If you own it, you can stream it as far as through your console or PC and such. So that's one of the things that Take-Two is on board with. Now, another thing to keep in mind, and not to, muddy Detective Seed's name or whatever, from a technical standpoint, unless it is 1080p or less, like a 1080p max with dynamic down, there is no way that the PS5 Pro can deliver a 60 frames on GTA 6. I call it now. It's an impossibility unless they make it where it's somewhere between 720 and 1080, and it's looking like what you would expect it to look like on the Series S. That's the only way they're going to get it. Now, could they do a 45 or like a 40 frames mode or something like that? I think that might be possible if you have a VRR TV or monitor that you have your PS5 Pro hooked to. I'm not sure if VRR is on the Pro. I know it's on the regular 5 now, or at least I think that. I might be getting things confused on that, but that's your best hope as far as getting something that'll look like 60 frames, because there's not enough power under the hood to get it to 60 frames for what we expect, unless Rockstar has been lying to us and they're using the exact same engine from GTA 5. If they're using the exact same engine with no updates, no increase in AI or NPCs or graphical detail, which we have already seen from the trailers that there is a good bit more graphical detail. Even the bubbles in the beer bottles and the condensation on the outside of the bottle has been noticed in the trailers. That's why I think there's no way we see 60 frames on the PS5 Pro. It's not going to happen. All of that aside, is a OEM box in the works for Microsoft or Xbox? Yes. Timing of it, I'm not sure, because I think there's one unmentioned player that's quietly in the background working on a home console as well as a VR headset that's more in line with what you see for the Meta Quest 3, and that's Valve. Valve is working on their next device to kind of not necessarily steal market share from Xbox, but to guarantee that you're locked into their ecosystem, even if that ecosystem can be found on other platforms. They are working on the Steam Box Part 2, although I don't know what they're going to call it just yet. But there's already a working operating system out there that you can beta test on your computer. There's already some beta test stuff that people have found for the VR headset that will be like in the $500 range to compete with the Quest. So they are probably not too far off. And I think those devices land in our hands before Steam Deck 2. So be on the lookout for that. Kind of surprised there aren't more people talking about that, considering that there's easy to find operating system stuff out there that you can beta test on your computer or your Steam Deck. All of that being said, those are going to be some of the motivating factors for Xbox to move forward and test things like an OEM device that they might be partnered with Asus or Dell or Alienware or any of those brands out there that they've worked with for, desktops or laptops with, Windows 11 being on there. And I'm pretty sure Windows 12 is still in the works, which I'm figuring Windows 12 will probably be closer to announce and launch when the actual Xbox branded console is ready to be under your TV, which I don't know what that ETA looks like, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have a partner device ready for holiday of next year if they can't have their own device by next year. I think Windows 12 won't be ready by next holiday, but I could be wrong. They could rush it out and then just continuously tweak it like they've done most of their operating systems, which might be a little too close to the bleeding edge. But the new Microsoft wants to be first, and they're trying their best to make sure that they're the kings of the AI game that have software out there for you. Right now, NVIDIA can be considered, at least from a hardware standpoint, the kings of AI, but they don't have any devices other than their video cards really to sell you. They have stuff for the enterprise end of things, but that's a whole other market. But all that to say, don't be surprised. I like Boom's idea. It does stand a very good chance, but I think it comes down to timing. If we hear something sooner rather than later from Valve, that console that's kind of a PC console-like device, although it will lean more PC and operate more like a PC, I think we see that first. Like when that shoe drops, expect the shoe to drop for the Asus Xbox console or something along those lines, or get a more firm date on the next generation Xbox. But yeah, next year is going to be big for Xbox. They got a lot of stuff in the works. The handhelds is just the beginning. And like we've heard in the past, they're working on the emulation aspect of things for those publishers that aren't willing to do play anywhere. There will be workarounds. So that will be how they can have that appeal for their devices moving forward. Even if the publishers choose to focus on PC first, you'll still be able to get those games on that device. But yeah, I would love to see a Xbox hybrid console like device from Asus or even from Xbox themselves by next holiday. I'm hoping the Xbox actual branded one comes first, and then we can see the varying price points of where Asus and Alienware might fall. Because I know a lot of people are already on the mindset of $1,200 to $1,500. I'm still on the mindset of $800 for the Xbox device, maybe a Asus device that comes in at around $600 or $700, and then they have their top line one. They'll be their X model. They'll be $1,200. I could see an Alienware one somewhere in the $1,500 range.
Yep.
And an MSI one at $1,000 even. Maybe even a Lenovo one somewhere in between all of that. But this is kind of where we're headed as far as when it comes to gaming hardware. Let's just hope there isn't any more, unforeseen economic or macroeconomic changes to affect the pricing as they would, as they're speccing these things out, as they're working on it. I know Steam is going to subsidize their stuff, much like the Steam Deck is kind of subsidized when you compare it to other handhelds, although it is a little bit underpowered, but it is a lot more, I would say, bulletproof or a lot more balanced as far as everything that's in it. Even though it may not be on the bleeding edge of things, it is purpose built and easier for them to control and have games spec to that device. So expect the same thing from Xbox with these OEM devices, but next holiday can't come soon enough. Well, this holiday is right around the corner, but holiday 26 can't come soon enough, and expect GTA 6 to be delayed at least one more time. I can't imagine a May release just yet.
I agree.
Like, unless we see some sort of updated trailer with no updates on the release date, my speculation is sometime after September in 26 is when it releases, which would be perfect timing for that device from Xbox and Asus, or maybe even the Xbox console that they say is for 2027, but that could be part of fiscal year 27. So we'll see.
It's going to be very interesting. Again, it's going to be a big year for Xbox. It's going to be a big year for gaming. Honestly, if you just look at what Xbox is doing through their first party, obviously you have Wolverine coming out next year. That's going to be huge for PlayStation. I think that's going to be a PlayStation 5 only, though I think it would behoove them if they had the time and ability to release it on PC day and date. I don't know if that's the first PC day and date one. It's going to sell like gangbusters. There's no doubt about it. There's a rumor that you're getting a new 3D Mario next year, as well as a new Zelda. So again, it's going to be a lot of gaming in 26. But I do think that when you kind of circle the wagons, you bring it back to this OEM device. Xbox is doing the gaming lord's work behind the scenes. Like I said, I know there's been a lot of real negative news in the last couple of weeks, most of which has been made up garbage just for clicks. And there's been some rake steps. Sure, we always talk about that, and we give them the proper smoke for stepping on rakes. But if because they know it's such a mammoth year for the platform, the entire games industry, whether it be hate-related content or actually well-written, positive content, or somewhere in the middle, everyone is going to be talking about Xbox because they're going to be front and center. Their three main pillars are getting a new release, a new Halo, a new Forza, a new Gears, Fable, new Call of Duty, Modern Warfare is finally coming back. Infinity Ward potentially going to bring it back in a big way. Again, you have a Clockwork Revolution possibly releasing with a bunch of other games. Some things that we know, some things that we don't. So everybody, because it's the 25th anniversary of the platform, it's the 25th anniversary of Halo Combat Evolved, it's the 20th anniversary of Gears of War. There's a bunch of stuff in there. It makes sense to take the stage front and center, bring in this OEM device that's been rumored for the last year, and release it around the same time that GTA comes out. Because not only could it be a Play Anywhere title where we'll be able to use our currently purchased handhelds, and that would be, I mean, listen, you'll be able to play GTA on the Portal, but that's going to be, streaming from your console, not natively. And again, I don't know if it's going to happen, but it certainly could. And it is going to be one of the biggest games, and Xbox is going to want a piece of that. And if, again, follow the breadcrumbs, ladies and gentlemen, most of the conversation with these current handhelds that have come out in the last couple of weeks has been, from most gamers, if it's a Play Anywhere title, it's almost an automatic buy for me because I get a chance to not only play on my console, but I can play on this handheld that I just spent $1,000 on. And that is becoming a conversation that is ringing very loud in the games community. Xbox is listening. Again, it's a big hypothetical, folks, but I thought it was a fun topic. Let me catch up on Super Chats, and we will get everyone on out of here. And by the way, Silent Cypher, great work today as Jason Voorhees. I didn't think you were real. I thought you were literally a dummy sitting in the chair because the way you were moving, it looked fake. Like you somehow worked it out. You looked fake, but you were real. I love it. It's great.
Movie magic.
Indeed it is. Okay, so we have here a couple more super chats. We have Brett Bingham drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, imagine if the Xbox OEM is Sony, the irony and salt from the ponies. Oh my God. I mean, look, I don't know what they're going to do. I know that right now, thanks to Shuhei Yoshida, who in my opinion has really raised the bar in trolling, has been playing and showing off his Xbox Ally X, playing PlayStation games on almost a regular basis to the point where people were throwing virtual tomatoes at that man. And look, again, what could you say? He's an icon. He's having fun with it. He's enjoying his console. He bought it. He probably didn't buy it. Xbox probably sent it to him. It's fine. It's Shuhei Yoshida. Why shouldn't he get I was gonna say a Series X, an Xbox Ally X? Why not? Give that man his flowers. But he's been having fun with it. And again, I think that you're gonna see more and more of these companies listen to the community, and the Play Anywhere thing isn't a fad. It isn't. It's something that Xbox, one of their interns thought of to just kind of, be a fun thing. Xbox Play Anywhere is the future. It's the future of Xbox moving forward. And we as consumers should be cheering that on. I'm sorry. We absolutely should. The more places that you get a chance to play your purchased games is better for who? The corpos or you? I'd say it's you. So yeah, champion that shit. Thanos is dropping a very generous $10 super chat. It says just dropping support with Thanos. Thank you so much for the generosity. Hopefully you have a great Halloween with the family. Be safe out there, and thank you again, brother. Super appreciate it. Brett Bingham drops an additional very generous $5 super chat. He says, Microsoft/Xbox, look at me. You build what I tell you now. I mean, look, the Xbox logo is going to be on Lenovo devices, Alienware devices, Dell devices, all of them. Because if they can get Xbox players to buy their wares, and they all are trying to jockey for position based on power and price, just like the handhelds now, there's a reason why there's going to be a universal UI to rule them all. What you see on your TV, what you see on your phone or your tablet or your handheld or your console is all going to look and act the same. And I know that because I've spoken to people at Xbox, and that has been put out there. This is what their goal is. They are moving towards a UI that looks and acts the same on any device, any screen that it's on. And I'm telling you right now, I know that everybody hates Xbox. Everybody thinks that, they're corporal greed, and everyone hates Phil Spencer. Hate as much as you want. The truth of the matter is that Xbox is so far ahead of PlayStation and Nintendo right now. It's ridiculous. And you will give them credit, whether you want to or not, when all of this comes to fruition. We have lastly Tim the Sorcerer dropping a very generous £2 super chat and says, awesome show, panel, and chat. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. Thank you, brother. Enjoy your weekend as well. I have some running around to do, which I'm actually sad because all I really want to do is run through the Outer Worlds again. I'm probably going to do another 75-hour romp. I got jealous, ladies and gentlemen. I don't use the word loosely. That I saw everyone having fun, and I'm like, I'm playing like 6 games. I bought 6 games that weren't in Game Pass. Double Dragon, by the way. Oh my God. If you're not playing the new Double Dragon, you are doing life wrong. It is so good. Oh my God. It's so good. Go play that game. Mortal Kombat just came out with their legacy. I mean, there's not enough time in the day. I bought that. Virtual Fighter 5 had an anniversary edition. I bought that. It's just pandemonium with all these games, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can say. But let's get everyone out of here so you can go and start playing your games. Enjoy your holiday weekend. And of course, like I said, folks, look, I'm going to say it again. I know that this is probably where we drag down the podcast. Folks, you know I'm an ex-police officer, and I'm telling you from experience how many wrecks I've been to where it's just been chaos and complete disaster. And it's always at the center of any of these horrific wrecks is somebody that was at a party, thought that they weren't high or drunk, and they drove. Folks, if anything you get from this podcast today, I hope it's this. Please, tonight, when you're out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, do not be under the influence, whether that be being high or being drunk, and get behind that wheel. There's no reason for it. There are Ubers. There are all kinds of cab services that you can take. If your friends love you, they will not let you do this. They will take the keys from you and they will drive home, or you'll sleep it off at someone's house. Do not get behind the wheel, ladies and gentlemen, please. Because nobody wants to be that guy or girl that just wrecked a family of 17 coming home in a van and now everyone's dead. Because I've seen those kind of wrecks. And where were they coming from? You see the news. They were coming from church. They were coming from camp. They were coming from Little League. This would be coming from trick-or-treating. Don't be that asshole. Do not drink and drive, folks. Again, I know it's boring, but I have to say it because my conscience makes me say it. As much as I've seen in my career, I want to always push that envelope, especially during the holidays. But Crispy Bomb, let's sell the brand, brother. Where could people get the crispy truth with a side dish of receipts when necessary? And more importantly, where could people find you next?
Chris Bomb on X, Chris Bomb 28 Xbox Live. Think Breakfast of Boom next week. I'll be back on, and just stay safe out there and have a happy Halloween.
Indeed, sir. Indeed. Silent Cypher. Let's sell the brand, brother. Obviously, you've been doing. You're gonna have a lot of fun this evening. Obviously, you've already were Jason Voorhees for today. I don't know how many costume changes they're gonna have, but hopefully you don't have any below the belt costume issues where your pants fall down and you scare people that way. Pause. Oh man, I don't know where that came from, but I had to say it publicly. Listen, brother, sell the brand. I know obviously you've taken a bit of a break from the Xbox International podcast, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't give those guys a shout out because it is a fun show. It is a show that's dedicated to a Spanish audience, and there's even a Spanish speaking one. And I think more people need to tune into it. We love what they do over there. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people follow you on socials? It's not Twitter. And more importantly, where could people find that podcast?
Well, thanks again for having me as always. I can chat. Rest assured, there's never any issues below the belt. We're good. We're good. Rest assured.
You're not gonna have any costume issues like Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl?
No, I'm not gonna have a Janet Jackson accident. Trust me. I'm well prepared. ABP, always be prepared.
Yeah, there you go.
No, so of course you can find me on probably like Threads, Instagram, TikTok. I have a TikTok again. They finally unbanned me. All my stuff's gone, but they unbanned me finally.
I had one that got hacked, and after I had nothing on there. I think I had like a controller unboxing, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I don't know how you do all those social medias, brother. That is just crazy.
I still don't know why that account ever got banned. And I tried to reach out to TikTok, and it's literally just like a shell of automated
it's disgusting.
communication.
It is. It's yeah.
So I never figured it out. But anyways, I'm back on there. You can of course find me on Xbox. If you see me on there and I'm playing some Call of Duty or something, feel free to hit me up. Always up for playing some games if I got some time. I'm going to be having all sorts of fun tonight. I think we've got 3 or 4 costume changes.
That's so cool. Make sure you throw it on the. Well, I don't say throw it on the socials, but I have to check you out on Blue Sky because you don't do X anymore.
I'll send you some pictures through Discord also.
Cool.
But
nice.
You'll probably see some stuff on Blue Sky, maybe Threads and some of the other ones. But yeah, besides that, so because of scheduling, I've managed to do a couple morning shows of XBI with Louis over the last couple weeks, awesome. Which has been pretty cool. That's been fun to just, wake up, roll out of bed and go rant and talk to people and tear ponies, new ones over plastic boxes. Because Lord knows, because of all the news recently, there's been a lot of trolls out there just trying to get under your skin. So it's been fun the last couple of weeks. But yeah, of course you'll catch me here in 2 weeks. You'll catch me on Fright Nights with Ferocious Fee once my schedule goes back to normal here in about a week or so. And that's about it. It's been great being with you guys, and thank you, chat, for hanging out with us and tolerating my Halo shenanigans.
No, brother, I love the opinion. I think that you're entitled to have it. You are a Halo purist. We've seen a lot of that conversation of the hashtag no sprint in my Halo. I mean, it's just, listen, you like what you like, brother, and I appreciate the honesty, and I'm sure the chat does as well. But brother, have a great night with the family. Of course, be safe, because again, it's supposed to be fun, but sometimes it's always ruined by just one jerk, and that's just what happens. But enjoy your time with the family, brother. That's what it's all about. And Fuzzy Belvedere, let's sell the brand, brother. Where could people check out Fright Night with Ferocious Fee? Friday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what you have happening today because obviously you may be going out with the kids, and there's going to be parties or it's trick-or-treating. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to her YouTube channel? But more importantly, follow you guys on social media.
As always, love doing this podcast with you, Boom, as well as you, Crispy. And so glad we had Silent Cypher on again this morning. Always love talking about the industry and gaming in general. And yeah, we're getting buried with games right now. So we're all kind of zombies for the most part, trying to get through this backlog for the most part. But it's so much fun right now. Definitely have fun playing games. Don't let social media get you down. Don't do the doom scroll. Just play some Doom. That'll make up for it. You get to blast things and blow them up. Yeah, just and hit it with the shield, because that was definitely a game changer this go around. But no Fright Night with Ferocious Fee tonight, because we will be back at Everett Theater. They're having like a marathon of independent films, Poltergeist, and Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I put the link for Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. If you haven't subscribed, I put the link in the chat, as well as for Everett Theater. If you're anywhere near Delaware, definitely check it out. Tickets are pretty much free. Just make a donation of what you think would be a nice donation for the theater. It's basically volunteer run, and it's haunted. So you might see some weird things when you go to see a movie there. So definitely worth checking out. But like Boom said, be safe this weekend. Have fun, but definitely be safe, and hope to see you guys right back here Monday afternoon for Xbox Lunch Break Special. See you then.
Well, thank you so much. And this weekend, Mrs. Boom is, her birthday is tomorrow. So she is All Saints Day baby. But unfortunately, birthday has been canceled because she has a ridiculously wicked sinus infection and she relapsed. She is sick as a dog. She is literally in the room, just a shell of her former self. Hopefully the antibiotics kick in. I'll be doing a post on the socials tomorrow for everyone in the community to wish her a happy birthday. But thank you for all the birthday wishes. The Black John and someone else actually said it. So thank you, gentlemen, for saying happy birthday to Mrs. Boom. We super appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed today's show. 2 hours. It was a little longer than I would have liked because I want to get everyone out of here. But we did have the opening fun one with our favorite scary games. And I went on a couple of rants, but it was fun. I hope you enjoyed it enough to hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. A big thank you to all of the generous super chats, gifted subs, and channel memberships that continue to help this the channel grow. And next Friday, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Boom and I are doing the 4th annual Mrs. Boom's birthday bash, where we're giving away $300 worth of gift cards. And all you got to do to win is be in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. And that's it. So thank you so much, everyone, for the happy birthday wishes for Mrs. Boom and the feel better wishes as well. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Have a great Halloween. Have an even better weekend. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.